The tendrils of Hive Fleet Leviathan are now reaching critical points throughout the galaxy. The Fourth Tyrannic War rages across the stars. From system to system, innumerable bioships and mega-organisms devour all the biomass they encounter. They descend upon worlds, enveloping them in a maelstrom of terror and consumption. As they surge forward, ancient worlds and civilizations, some of which have stood for millennia, find themselves powerless against this relentless tide. Their grand histories, cultures, vast populations, and achievements face the unthinkable fate of being erased, consumed into the all-encompassing maw of the Leviathan, leaving behind naught but silent, barren worlds as testament to their once glorious existence. Within the seething mass of Tyranid hive fleets, which span across galaxies like a plague of locusts, Hive Fleet Leviathan rises preeminent. It is the latest and the most devastating of the Tyranid hive fleets to have ever pierced the veil of the known galaxy. Speaking of great battles, it would be a missed opportunity not to mention the epic saga unfolding in Dungeon Hunter 6, today's video sponsor and the newest installment in the Dungeon Hunter series. The game is a free-to-play mobile ARPG with a unique hero collector feature and a captivating fantasy aesthetic. Download this free-to-play game now using the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen if you are viewing on the PC. In Dungeon Hunter 6, you can defeat bosses to not only loot, but also to command them. You can summon up to 3 at once to your squad, leveraging their combo skills in battle. Conquer over 100 unique bosses and explore new monthly classes and units for endless possibilities. All of this in stunning 3D graphics, ensuring the best visual experience and smoothest combat on mobile devices. Trade items via the auction system, and test a variety of skill tree options to find your best gameplay style. Download the game now for free on both Android and iOS to get a special starter pack that includes 10 summoning scrolls, 1 accessory pack, and 1 SSR Lieutenant, a mighty demonic wolf. Use your game account to enter the Launch Lucky Spin event for free to win great prizes like an iPhone 15 Pro Max, PS5, Apple Watch, and more, starting October 15th. Check out the description for details. Use the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen if you are viewing on the PC. Thank you to Dungeon Hunter 6 for sponsoring this video. What sets Leviathan apart from its predecessors isn't merely its size, but the swift and chilling precision of its evolution. With each conquest, they assimilate the genetic strengths of their prey, refining their own biological arsenal in a never-ending cycle of predatory enhancement. Having benefited from countless cycles of adaptation, consumption, and evolution, Hive Fleet Leviathan stands as true evidence to this process, showcasing biological innovations unseen in earlier Hive fleets. Its approach has plunged the Imperium of Man into a state of red alert and military mobilization on a galactic scale. The sheer number of organisms that swarm within Leviathan's shadow is staggering, dwarfing those of previous incursions. Its tendrils stretch far and wide, strategizing and adapting with an alien hive mind intelligence. This makes it not just a challenge, but perhaps the single greatest threat the Imperium has ever faced in the history of its existence. In your opinion, which do you think is the current greatest threat to the survival of mankind in the late 41st millennium? The Imperium of Man has faced countless threats throughout its vast history, but Hive Fleet Leviathan emerged as a unique peril in the Imperium of Man's long saga of confrontations. This monstrous force's arrival heralded an era of unrelenting peril and ceaseless warfare for humanity's sprawling empire. The devastation of Baal was the grim overture to the Leviathan's horrifying symphony of destruction. The Battle for Baal stands as one of the most monumental confrontations in recent Imperial history. At the heart of this conflict was Baal, the home world of the noble and ancient Blood Angels Space Marine chapter. As Leviathan's tendrils drew closer to Baal, it became clear that this was not just another world to be consumed. For the Blood Angels, it was their ancestral home and a symbol of their storied legacy. The defense of Baal was not just a military endeavor, but a battle for the very soul of the chapter. I say, let us not go into the long silences of history, but stride forward into legend. The conflict was fierce and devastating. The skies of Baal were set ablaze as waves of Tyranid bioforms descended, meeting the stalwart defenders of the Blood Angels and their successor chapters, who had rallied to the defense of their homeworld. The ground was soaked with ichor of Tyranids and the blood of Astartes alike. As the Blood Angels fiercely defended their homeworld of Baal from the unending onslaught of High Fleet Leviathan, the stars quaked with the cataclysmic eruption of empiric energy, marking the opening of the Great Rift across the galaxy. This vast warp storm spilled forth legions of bloodthirsters into the Baal system, transforming a dire battle into a chaotic carnage that suddenly saw the Blood Angels, Tyranids, and Demons of Chaos facing each other. With reality itself fraying, the Blood Angels, already stretched to their limit, now had to contend with the anarchy of both the material and immaterial realms. The moon of Baal became a storm of madness. On Baal Prime, things were desperate. Despite their might, their valor, and the weight of their history pushing them forward, the Blood Angels were on the brink of annihilation. It was at this dire moment that the Indomitus Crusade, led by the resurrected Primarch, Rabuti Gilliman, arrived. With these reinforcements of Ultramarines, the enemy tides were finally stemmed, and Baal was ultimately saved, but at a terrible cost. The aftermath left the Blood Angels' numbers severely depleted, and the shadow of the Tyranid threat loomed even larger in the psyche of the Imperium. Saving the planet of Baal brought a brief respite, but the galaxy's ordeal was far from over. The Blood Angels, being some of the Imperium's most vaunted defenders, were nearly obliterated as the swarm descended upon their homeworld with savage fury. The galaxy watched in horror at these events, realizing the magnitude of the danger the Leviathan represented. If such storied defenders could be brought to the brink, what hope did other worlds hold? After the colossal battle, empiric storms, wild and unpredictable, tore at the remnants of High Fleet Leviathan, scattering its splintered fleets like seeds across the nearby stars. These fragmented swarms, though severed from the main fleet, were no less lethal. Numerous systems, unprepared for the sudden and voracious arrival of the Tyranids, found themselves plunged into turmoil. Each splintered fleet brought with it a new wave of terror, igniting countless smaller but relentless conflicts against many different factions. In the turbulent currents of the Maelstrom, a region of space notorious for its warp anomalies and the dark presence of chaos, a particularly potent splinter of the High Fleet Leviathan found a new adversary: the forces of Huron Blackheart. This unstable region of space, rife with the raw energies of the warp, became an unexpected battleground between the ravenous Xenos and the renegades of chaos. Contrary to expectations, the warp-infested expanse amplified the Tyranids' evolutionary prowess. The Tyranids began to harness the volatile warp energies, integrating them with their predatory biology. As they consumed and assimilated more biomass, their potency only increased. Their hive ships produced neurobeasts and psyker organisms at unparalleled rates, adapting and thriving amidst the chaotic energies. This swift assimilation and adaptation surprised even the seasoned Red Corsairs, leading to fierce battles against the Tyranids, bolstered by the warp's volatile energies. One of the most notable examples of these newly discovered bioorganisms is the Neurotyrant. Its enormous brain serves as a focal point for the Tyranid synapse network, enabling a strong connection between the hive mind and the thousands of lesser creatures it commands. Also, the Neurotyrant amplifies the pressure of the shadow in the warp, a psychic phenomenon that blocks warp-based communication. During invasions, the Neurotyrant acts as a focusing node for this strange power, liquefying the minds of its prey as it orchestrates hordes of Tyranids to victory. The presence of a Neurotyrant can be felt at considerable distances, as it has been reported that its presence creates distortions in the mind of the would-be prey. Many are drawn to the Tyranids, confused by illusions. Others are paralyzed as visions of terror grip their minds, and all they can see is impending doom. This is a prime example of how the Tyranids can adapt their capabilities based on the battlefield they are in. Now let's take a look at how they have also adapted according to the foe they are facing. Orcs. Known for their raw physical strength, brawny resilience, and the momentum of their walls, present a particular challenge to any foe. Their crude yet effective weaponry, paired with their hulking physiques, mean they often engage in brutal up-close combat. When Tyranid hive fleets set their sights on Orc-held territories, their intrinsic ability to adapt shines in horrifying brilliance. This matchup is a contest between two species defined by their overwhelming numbers, ferocity, and ability to rapidly adapt and reproduce. In response to the sheer muscle and might of the orcs, Tyranids often undergo rapid evolutionary changes. They spawn bioforms that are larger, stronger, tougher, and more adept at hand-to-hand combat. There are many bioorganisms that have all these qualities, but one in particular has been detected more and more in recent Tyranid invasions on many worlds. The evolved Screamer Killer, a breed of carnifex that walks on two massive legs, a wailing face, and four scything limbs arching from its core bulk. There have been instances of this creature reported before. The first variation of this creature was able to produce lethal bioplasma in its guts, which it then discharged with full force against its victims. whilst making a high-pitched, screeching noise. This is how it's received its name. The new Screamer Killer takes all of these features and boosts them considerably more than they already were, and they are considered to be the largest and most infamous subspecies of the Carnifex group. The clash between Tyranids and orcs is a cataclysmic dance of evolution and war. While the orcs adapt through crude genetic memory, trial and error, and the momentum of belief, the Tyranids evolve with a calculated and horrifying precision. Confronted by the vast and technologically advanced Imperium, the Tyranids exhibit chilling evolutionary tactics. Central to their strategy against the Empire's sprawling defenses are the Lictors, stealthy assassins, adept at infiltration. Their chameleonic skin allows them to become nearly invisible, positioning them perfectly to silently neutralize key targets and relay strategic information back to the hive mind. And when it comes to specialized units like the Lictors, the hive mind possesses the astounding capability to customize and refine them even further based on the specific challenges it anticipates. Lictors in their base form are already formidable infiltrators, but the hive mind can introduce variations for specialized tasks. One such variation is the Von Ryan's Leapers. These creatures are excellent ambush predators that are nimble and quick, not to mention deadly. At just the right moment, they will emerge to wreak bloody havoc on their unlucky foes. They have many similarities with regular Lictors, but unlike them, these variants hunt in packs, rather than as solitary creatures. For targets with heightened psychic defenses, the hive mind has spawned a specialized type of bioorganism. The Neurolictor variants combine intense psychic abilities with formidable claws, crippling enemy morale either by subtle suggestion or wanton brutality. Death Leapers are another variation of these evolved Lictor strains. New Lictors of this type started to sprout up wherever the hive mind needed to sow complete and utter dread. The Death Leaper has the usual features of a regular Lictor, but with frightening upgrades. Longer and spikier tendrils, more powerful talons and claws, 2 extra sets of eyes, and a living cloak of membrane-like webbing that sways to disguise its silhouette. This bioorganism is one of the most frightening living weapons in the gigantic Hive Fleet's arsenal, and its name is synonymous with lingering, unavoidable dread across the galaxy. Because of its superior stealth, infiltration, and assassination capabilities, this apex Lictor has an innate grasp of how to instill terror among hostile forces and prey populations, all in preparation for the Hive Fleet's mass invasion that usually comes shortly after. Against the sadistic Dark Eldar, the Tyranids are said to produce attack organisms with lowered pain receptors to be able to withstand more punishment. They are made with enhanced toxins and other enhancements to take on this particular kind of enemy. And so it goes with the Tyranids. Each new organism and its variants is a meticulously crafted response to the observed challenges. They evolve according to the enemy they face to be able to overcome them. But there's one new type of bioorganism that stands tall above the swarm. recently spotted breaking havoc on the western edge of the galaxy, in the brutal and desperate conflict that is now known as the Fourth Tyrannic War. The Norn emissaries are a new and dire threat to the Imperium of mankind. Every Norn emissary is a meticulously engineered and purpose-bred creature, spawned by their Norn queen, with a distinct and exclusive purpose. These objectives may include tracking down a tactically skilled commander, capturing an individual possessing valuable knowledge, or simply crushing a target that has put too much resistance to the objectives of the Great Devourer. Dwarfing even Carnifexes, these enormous messengers of the hive mind are more than up to the alien task at hand, thanks to their terrible psionic capability, able to destroy the minds of even powerful and experienced psychers. Lightning-fast reflexes that should not be possible for a creature of its size. Sharp minds and monstrous strength. Before battle, the Norn Queen makes sure the emissaries are equipped with the essential and refined knowledge required to effectively accomplish their assigned goal. The Norn Assimilator is another genotype that has been recently identified. This creature exhibits a propensity for sacrificing its psychic abilities and defensive capabilities in favor of maximizing its offensive potential. Simply put, when the Hive Fleet has decided that a particular prey or fortification must be eliminated, it sends forth an inexhaustible Norn assimilator. It achieves its goal through the utilization of its lethal tox injector harpoons, which possess a keen edge capable of effectively engaging both infantry and heavily armored adversaries. This, along with heavy claws, tentacles, extra talons, and hooks, all moving with raw alien power, make this organism one of the most advanced and evolved predators in the entire known galaxy. One particular emissary was able to wreak havoc in a manner most unheard of. Charging with ferocious speed and terrifying purpose, it tore through the resolute ranks of the Imperial forces, including various Adeptus Custodes. Its eyes fixated on a singular prize, the life of Lord Commander Solar Leontus, who is the one appointed to oversee all Astra Militarum forces within the Segmentum Solar, the central nerve of the Imperium. Originating from a prestigious family on Terra, his ancestry boasts an unmatched legacy of devotion to the Emperor, spanning numerous generations. A highly valued target for the Great Devourer. The very ground seemed to tremble as the Norn emissary neared Commander Leontus, getting within mere moments of achieving its gruesome mission. It was only by the hard-fought battle that Trajan Valores and his elite custodian guard put up that halted the beast's onslaught. The cost was high, though. Even with their unparalleled skills in sacred war gear, many of the Emperor's most trusted bodyguards met their end beneath the creature's relentless assault, before, finally, it was brought to heel. But what about the previously mentioned Norn Queens? What are these things, these creatures, and what is their function within a Tyranid fleet? The Norn Queens are among the most crucial organisms within the Tyranid hierarchy. They are the epicenter of the species' reproductive capabilities, serving as living factories that produce the vast array of Tyranid bioforms that make up a hive fleet. Without the Norn Queens, a hive fleet would stagnate, and be unable to replenish its numbers or adapt to new threats. Norn queens are massive creatures that are normally kept concealed deep within the largest hive ships, where they are guarded by multiple layers of hostile species and biostructures. Their major purpose is to breed, but this is not a straightforward procedure that results in organisms that are similar to one another. Instead, the Norn queens demonstrate an in-depth knowledge of genetics and the concepts underlying evolutionary change by designing organisms that are specifically fitted to specific difficult tasks. When a Tyranid fleet consumes a planet, vast amounts of biomass is absorbed and broken down into its basic components. This raw material is then transported to the Norn queens, using this gigantic soup of biomass, along with genetic templates stored within their vast biological memory banks. They begin the process of creating new organisms, making up for the incredibly numerous and varied Tyranid swarms. While Norn queens operate with a level of autonomy, they are intrinsically linked to the hive mind. This collective consciousness provides the Norn queens with feedback from battles, environmental data, and strategic needs, ensuring the organisms they produce are perfectly suited for the fleet's requirements. The Adeptus Astronomica, situated on Terra, believed that the destruction of these breeding organisms are the key to slowing down the alien tide. They have discovered that upon the destruction of a Norn queen, a psycho-temporal event is produced, and it is powerful enough to interfere with warp travel across the galaxy. Unfortunately, this also causes a phenomenon dubbed the Hydra effect. It is believed that this psychic resonance has the purpose to signal other biovessels and hive fleets to create more Norn queens, as one has fallen. It is a survival instinct that makes matters dire for the Imperium and all other races who seek to stop the Tyranid menace. In the grim darkness of the far future, the Tyranids have honed their biology to perfection, becoming masters of adaptive evolution. This adaptability doesn't merely allow them to survive. It empowers them to consume and decimate worlds. They adapt depending on the terrain they fight, and depending on the foe they will devour. They have evolved to be the ultimate harbingers of doom in a universe already teeming with dread. And Hive Fleet Leviathan is now a cataclysmic force, the culmination of the Tyranids' adaptive prowess. Now, a new massive swarm from Hive Fleet Leviathan has appeared on the western edge of the Imperium, far from their previous attacks, devouring everything in its path, inexorably towards the center of the Imperium of mankind. The Fourth Tyrannic War is raging, and the stakes have never been higher. If you want to learn more about how the Tyranids were first discovered, how they wage war and consume planets, check out our lore overview video about the Great Devourer. If you want to have access to the full finished videos before they are released here on YouTube, and have your name immortalized on our videos, consider joining our Patreon page to support the making of more content. You can also help us enormously by simply liking and commenting. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.